1 month. That's how long it had been since the 5 great nations learned of the capturing and killing of Han and Roshi. The Akatsuki now had 5 of the tailed beasts in their possession. Only 4 remained. The Six Tails and its Jinchuriki were still in hiding. The Hidden Mist was on the verge of ending their search for them due to how much time and resources had been used for the past 3.5 years. The Seven Tails was even more hidden. The last known Jinchuriki died during the Third Great Ninja War, but the fate of the beast was unknown. Many speculated a smaller village had taken it as their own. The Eight Tails and its Jinchuriki, Killer Bee, was now heavily protected within the cloud. After Yugito's death, their security tripled. As for the Nine Tails, only a few knew its general location. Haku was the only one with Naruto, so she sent news to the Leaf whenever she got the chance. After the news about Han and Roshi, Haku left the village to find Naruto, Zabuza joining her until they found the Uzumaki. He was in a hotel in a tiny town in the land of waterfalls. But when Haku saw his face, she realized that Naruto wasn't completely there. His eyes were hollow and red from crying, skin pale, and hands always covering his ears. She could only speculate, but she assumed he'd felt Han and Roshi die, just like he had with Yugito. There was no telling what he was thinking, especially considering he now carried 6-tailed beast consciousnesses. Zabuza left a day later. Haku said everything she could think of to try and convince Naruto to leave the room. Nothing worked. It wasn't until they both ran out of the money they had on them that Haku dragged him out. After that, they wandered across the land of waterfalls, aimless. Night was the only time Naruto showed the slightest hint of peace. He barely slept, but the tailed beasts seemed to quiet down then. Nearing 2 months into their journey, Haku felt like they were revisiting the same forests, plains, and waterfalls. The land of waterfalls wasn't big, but a maze nonetheless. Shinobi avoided it at all costs, legends from decades ago creating an aura of mystery beneath the tranquility. Haku knew Naruto was better off out here in his current state. The Yuki stopped as they entered a small clearing. She helped Naruto to lay down, sending a clone to gather firewood. Without it, she knew she'd fall asleep, leaving Naruto with a chance to move without her knowing. She refused to leave or lose him, not to the forest or the tailed beasts. All she could do was give Naruto company she knew would never hurt him. "You're not going to die," Haku whispered as she softly brushed the blonde's unkempt hair. "You are my reason for living. With you, I have nothing to fear. I will always be by your side." Haku smiled as the blonde's grip over his ears lessened slightly. By now, he was beginning to show signs of healing little by little. He still didn't speak, but his eyes had regained their focus. All Haku wanted was to know what he was thinking. Perhaps then she would know the words she needed to bring back the true Naruto Uzumaki. Haku stepped away to start the fire, placing a blanket around Naruto afterwards. She sat at his side, one hand by his side, the other holding a kunai. Ever since she regained her sensory abilities, she'd felt hypervigilant. She constantly felt eyes on her, though she knew there were none. "Perhaps the land of waterfalls is beginning to have its effect on me," she chuckled. "What kind of effects?" Haku jumped, throwing her kunai towards the new voice. She heard someone yell and crash into the ground. Haku dashed towards the dark figure, but found no one. "Watch where you're pointing that thing!" Haku whipped around to see a girl leaning against a tree. There was zero hostility or even panic in her stance. Her skin was tan and her body slender. Short hair a mint green. The orange clip on her right side matched her sparkling eyes. She wore a white sleeveless shirt exposing her midriff, fishnet armor underneath. loose white cover on her arms, a white apron skirt covering fishnet shorts. On her back was something wrapped in red cloth. "Who are you?" Haku asked, keeping her blade raised. "I'll tell you after you tell me. This is my home turf," the girl replied. Haku frowned, unsure how to respond. She'd never seen someone so calm in a situation like this. There was no way of knowing how strong she was. Haku decided her best bet was to play along. The girl didn't appear to have noticed Naruto, so keeping her attention was the safest option. "My name is Haku Yuki. Now tell me yours." The unknown girl's face brightened, eyes shining with joy. "The name is Fu. Glad to meet you. Man, you and your friend don't look too great. You've been wandering the forest for a while now, I take it." "How would you know?" Haku asked, put off by Fu's friendliness. Fu giggled. "You and your friend aren't exactly in the best of shape. Oh, don't worry, I'm not here to cause trouble. I was just out for a stroll and sensed you two out here." "So you are a shinobi. What village do you belong to?" Haku inquired. "The hidden waterfall, see?" Fu answered, pointing to the headband around her arm. Haku didn't recognize the symbol, but she figured it was authentic. The land of waterfalls had no village as far as she knew, but the region was largely unexplored, so it wasn't impossible for a settlement to stay hidden. "If you're being truthful, how come we haven't encountered any of your people?" Fu shrugged. "We don't send out patrols. Don't need to. The forests and, well, waterfalls keep us safe. No one visits, and we rarely leave. The last time I got to see the outside world was the tuning exams in the sand. Good times. We try to keep our home secret." Haku frowned. "For people who avoid the rest of the world, you seem comfortable with me and my companion." Fu's smile widened. "Because I love making new friends. But I never get to meet people. I've always got guards stopping me from talking with outsiders, like in the tuning exams. My village sent me with a pair of tuning just to make sure I didn't bring attention to myself. Of course, I gave them the slip. Almost got myself and Chome killed in the process." "Chome?" Haku asked. Fu covered her lips. "Man, I let it slip, didn't I? Well, no point hiding it." Fu jumped onto a nearby rock. "Like your blonde friend over there, I'm a Jinchuriki," she declared with her arms out to the side. Haku tensed as Fu acted so carefree. It took her a moment to register what she'd just heard. "You, a Jinchuriki? Then you must carry the Seven Tails. It's the only one not in the possession of one of the great nations. So, this hidden waterfall village has had it all these years?" "Not it. Chome is a he, thank you very much. Unlike the rest of the tailed beasts, he prefers they use his name. Though apparently the Four Tails prefers his name being used for different reasons," Fu muttered as she nodded her head. Haku's breath caught in her throat. "The tailed beasts have names?" Fu nodded vigorously. "Yeah, I guess you probably wouldn't have known that. Most don't, even most Jinchuriki. Doesn't help some of them are more aggressive towards humans than others. Your friend is probably in that boat. He's got number 9, right? I can also sense others, but not much." Fu backflipped over to the blonde, staring at him with curiosity. "What's his name anyway? I'd rather not call him your friend forever." "Naruto." Fu nodded in thought. "Cool. Nice to meet you, Naruto," she grinned, shaking the blonde's limp arm. Her expression turned grim. "How long has he been like this?" "About 2 months," Haku admitted. Fu's shoulders slumped. She carefully took Naruto's hand again, her eyes closing for a few seconds. Haku continued to keep her blade ready to strike. She could only assume they were connected to the tailed beasts, just like with Yugito. As far as she knew, there was no way for her to harm him. Fu didn't seem like a threat, but Haku's emotions wouldn't allow her to not be cautious. "I see," Fu muttered, pulling away and sitting across from Naruto. "No wonder he's like this. I'd probably be dead if I'd seen what he'd seen and felt what he's felt." "You know what happened?" Haku asked, not aware of the full story herself. "Mostly. Chomei allows me to view the Nine-Tails' memories, who saw through Naruto's eyes. I couldn't experience exactly what Naruto felt, but I saw his full breakdown. I know the cause, too." Haku nodded. "He felt Hana and Roshi die. The tailed beasts only make the problem worse." Fu shook her head. "It's more than that. If anything, the tailed beasts are what kept his heart beating. And he didn't just feel Hana and Roshi pass, he felt like he was dying too. He more or less did. Right now, it's like his mind has only just been reborn and is learning to exist again." "But he's been conscious this whole time," Haku protested. "Part of him, yes, but not the part of him that is Naruto." "Do you remember your first kill, Haku? Remember how the life faded from their eyes? How their blood oozed out of the wound, covering your hand and blade? Remember losing track of their chakra signature, as if it never existed? Naruto, he's never killed someone, has he?" Haku took a moment to nod, Fu sighing in defeat. "Naruto felt what us killers refuse to think about, multiplied by tenfold. Like I said earlier, by no means should he have survived dying vicariously once, let alone 3 times." Haku was unable to look at Fu or Naruto, the kunai falling to her side in anguish. "That just means your boyfriend is super strong," Fu blurted out, the biggest smile on her face. "Only someone with incredible resolve could crawl back from this. You must have something in this world to hold on to, and I think you're the most important. Why else would you have stayed with him this whole time?" Haku was taken aback, her breathing ragged in confusion. "How do you know all this?" "I saw some of his memories, so that helps. Plus, he and I live in similar worlds, being Jinchuriki and all." Fu took Haku's hands, staring into her soul. "You're the one person who can bring him back. You might not understand how, but you will." Fu looked into the sky, panic forming. "Crap, I've got to get back soon or I'll be in trouble. My curfew is really strict." Fu turned to run off, but stopped. She turned back and handed Haku a piece of paper. On it was a map of some kind. "Use this to find the hidden waterfall village. Just call for me and I'll show you guys around. We don't get many visitors, so the villagers might act a little weird around you, but you'll be fine." Fu bounced away, quickly shaking Naruto's hand before jumping onto a nearby boulder. Haku sensed her channeled chakra, insect-like wings sprouting from her lower back. They moved faster than Haku could track, lifting Fu off the ground. She waved goodbye before flying into the forest. Haku remained still until she lost her presence. She then let out a big sigh. She was awfully cheerful. She turned just in time to catch Naruto from falling onto his side. His arm was stretched out, trying to grasp something. Haku carefully took his hand in her own, sadness in her gaze and voice. "You spoke to her, didn't you?" Haku knew the answer just by looking into the boy's eyes. "She understands you better than I do. I'm not worthy of being at your side. You deserve better than what I can offer." Naruto's grip tightened on her hand. His eyes were still blank, but she could sense something. He was coming back, little by little. Do you want to go to this waterfall village? She asked. The blonde's grip loosened and tightened again, Haku taking that as a yes. Okay, Haku smiled. Once you can talk again, I'll take you. Naruto gave the slightest of nods, lips quivering. He was desperate, which only made Haku's heart ache more. She gently laid Naruto on the ground, lying down next to him, the fire slowly dying down until darkness consumed them. Haku found herself awake once more, Naruto fast asleep. She kept thinking back to Fu's words. Was she really the only one who could save Naruto? All her life she couldn't even save herself. How could she help someone like him? Someone with such strength and resolve. Not even death had defeated him. Why did I have to fall for you? Haku whispered, caressing Naruto's whiskers. He saw you in pain, and he couldn't stand by and watch. Haku tensed but was unable to move. The deep voice echoed through her mind, a dark presence forming within Naruto. Her mind quickly turned to the Nine Tails. She tried to reach for a kunai, but couldn't. Don't bother, Yuki. We're speaking telepathically. Naruto can't say it right now, so I will. Why? Haku asked in fear. The Nine Tails sighed. He's my host, one who needs all the help he can get until his mind is fixed. I was there, you know, back in the land of waves. I know everything he thinks about you. He saw you were stuck, unable to move on from seeing yourself as a tool. He took you from Zabuza to show you a life of freedom, a life that you could choose. But that desire grew in both of you until you fell for each other. I can assure you, he will always choose you when the time comes. He might be an idiot who makes too many promises and rash decisions. But if it's between you and the rest of the world, he will choose you and your well-being. Believe that. The Nine Tails' presence faded, Naruto looking more relaxed than usual. Haku was still confused by the fox's sudden appearance and his words. Fu appeared to have a good relationship with the Seven Tails, much like Yukito, Han, and Roshi. Clearly, the Nine Tails wasn't as evil as Haku thought if it was willing to speak on Naruto's behalf. She forced the thought out of her mind, taking Naruto's hand. She wouldn't admit it, but she was grateful to the fox for letting her hear the words she needed. Any doubt was washed away. She would keep Naruto safe, no matter the situation, just as he had done all those years. If you like what you just heard, consider hitting the subscribe button and bell icon to get notified about new videos. If there's a part you've missed, then check out the entire playlist on screen. If you like this story, please share it with your fellow anime lovers. Any support helps a lot. That's all for now. This is Ninja Kai, disappearing in a golden flash.